Wonder how much of a restraining factor it will be this morning because the SGX flashing on your screen is up 11%. So that's indicating that a circuit could be in store, and we'll talk about that this morning. But the backdrop across Asia is just a little bit subdued. Let's hear out what sectors you should be backing, and you've been seeing all those graphic plates on the screen suggesting what the top brokerages and investment banks think are good poll plays. But let's hear out a couple of experts on that as well.
You have the expectation that something positive is going to happen in banking. Now, whether it means consolidation, whether it means opening up for insurance and so on. So there's enough activity likely to happen there. And then you go down the list, obviously you'll go for infrastructure, and then you'll probably look at 3G, and therefore some money goes into telecoms. How many do you play there? And then, real estate. And the other thing which is very likely is in the next 50 to 60 days, you'll see a lot of QIPs or, flurry of paper coming as well to the market. Underperformers, you probably will get the defensives, as you were saying. So in the context of a rising rupee and more flows coming in, it's very unlikely you get significant performance from technology, pharma, also the defensives, such as FMCG as well.
Don't touch the oil companies as long as they don't decontrol it. Once if they decontrol, they're going to be big money spinners. Because the kind of marketing network they have, and if I were to decide, I would free the oil prices. Because as a country and as an economy, we have to face it. How long can we keep on, 1,04,000 crores was a subsidy last year. How long can we go on paying this kind of subsidy? And eventually we are paying it. Whether customer is paying it or not, the government is paying, so I and you, all of us are paying. So I think if they do the decontrol, then I think they are great buys. And I would give it a 30-40% chance that
that's
will be
some of our experts talking about the sectors they like. Ramesh, you were mentioning some of them. Before that, though, for the market, from where we stand right now, Ramesh, from our perspective, one of the most important events is out of the way. How would you map the rest of 2009?
I think if you look back at the calendar in India, I think the next few weeks are going to be a huge amount of FII inflow coming into India. I think the DLF deal that took place was almost a seminal deal. In the IPO they raised $2 billion. Here they raised almost $800 million in a matter of overnight. All the promoters, from what I understand, of property companies are in Singapore trying to raise money. So there'll be a gush of money waiting to come after the election. Numbers I talked to are as high as $5 billion over the next 2 months, $6 billion over the next 2 months. So that will add a lot of buoyancy to the market. There might be selling from domestic factors, but after a few weeks of this, people will start looking forward to the budget. And in my opinion, this is shaping up to be as important as Manmohan Singh's path-breaking budget in '91, because this is the first time actually since 1991, in which actually he was a minority government, that he has the power, and he's an economist, and he working towards his legacy. He has a few years left. I think the budget will be obviously a make-or-break document. I don't think the market will tolerate waiting for the next budget. I think they will look for tea leaves within this budget. So I think till the budget comes, the market should remain buoyant, barring some global catastrophe, which I don't see happening in the next few months.
Another voice in, Akash Prakash of Amansa Capital joins in from Singapore now. Akash, now that you have had your sip of tea, you can tell us how buoyant and how optimistic you're feeling about the market this morning. One circuit up, you think is likely 10% or two to 15%?
Now, that's a difficult one to definitely looks like one circuit up. Whether one or two is frankly debatable, but doesn't really make that much difference. But I think obviously the reality is the market is very excited by this result, rightly so. And I think it's now for the Congress government to execute and deliver on the mandate they've been given. So if they deliver, then I think more than you could be at the beginning of a very significant rally which could last for quite some time. So whether it's one circuit or two circuit, frankly, it doesn't matter. I think what's more important is, are we setting the stage for a significant, multi-month or multi-year type of rally if this government were to come and deliver on certain policy issues, which I think they have the mandate to deliver now for the first time.
Has the floor for the Indian market changed after this event for you? Earlier there was that lurking suspicion that we may still go back and retest the lows. Even people who did not think so thought that at least a fallback to 10,000 Sensex is very likely. But now, do you think with this event, if we do get to 15,000 in this run, do you think it may not go back and retest those levels at all?
Yeah, I think it's unlikely it goes back and retests those levels now. I think you've gone to a fundamentally different, range for the Indian market now. I think that the expectation is that, this mandate obviously is far stronger than anyone expected, and the sense is that this government now will be able to move ahead on a lot of policy issues which they were constrained from doing anything in the past, either because of left support or because of their own coalition partners or the Congress's own, initial hesitation. I think the important thing is, as you said, to see the cabinet, who the ministers are, who runs the important economic ministries and infrastructure ministries, and if they go ahead and, as Ramesh pointed out, a budget is important. If they show willingness to move ahead on economic policy, I think there is very limited chance then that the market goes back and tests the previous lows, independent of what happens internationally. And but the caveat there is that we have got to show that this government has got to show that they're serious and that they wish to implement and move ahead quickly on policy reform.
Akash, morning. On that point you raised about this perhaps being a multi-month, multi-year run, what do you think? Because in your writings in the past, you've pointed out that politics remained the wild card over the past couple of months.
Yeah, no, I think that the opportunity is there. As I said, I think the 2-3 good things, right? One is that Manmohan Singh himself obviously is significantly strengthened, given that he was the clear candidate for Prime Minister and he led the government, he led the party to victory. Number one. Number two, the Congress party is 206 or 5 seats. The next coalition partner is 18, 19 seats. So they do have the political space to move ahead quickly on policy reform, whether it be divestment, education, infrastructure. The issue now is the Congress has got to execute. I think there are no longer any excuses that we have the left problem or we have this problem or that problem. They have been given a clear mandate by the Indian public. They've got to implement. If they go ahead and implement the stuff which they know what needs to be done, if they go and implement, I think that this is a game changer in that sense. But the debate or the caveat is, will they use the opportunity given to them by the Indian public? If they do, it's clearly a game changer. I think the new lows will not come, and you're setting yourself up for a very good run, whether it be months or years. I mean, that time will tell. If they do nothing, if they again facilitate or not use this opportunity to move ahead on economic policy, then it's again a very significant lost opportunity, and then I think you could have a much more short circuit type of rally.
Okay, gentlemen, stay on. Just quickly before all of that, one technical factor you need to keep your eye on is that very soon after opening up, we may be hitting circuit. Here's the numbers game and the percentage game. Anuj joins in for that. Anuj.
Thanks, Mithali. Of course, it's not exactly 10 and 15%. It's based on the quarterly closing. So it's based on the quarterly closing as on March 31. And indications are that for the first time we'll have an upper circuit. We've had 2 down circuits, but these are the numbers: 975 points for the Sensex and 300 points for the Nifty. After that, there is a 1-hour halt because the sense is that it would happen immediately after market opening. Dealing rooms are saying that there are chances of a second circuit also, not of a third circuit though. So second circuit is at 450 points. If that happens, of course, there will be a 2-hour trading halt, because if that happens before 1 p.m., then technically there's a 2-hour trading halt and then markets resume. And of course, if after that there's a 20% circuit, then there is no trading for the rest of the day. But just in case the 15% circuit happens after 1 p.m., but it happens before 2 p.m., in that case, there won't be a 2-hour halt. In that case, there would be only 1-hour halt, because by that time, you would have already reached about 2:30, and from there on, trading would resume. And this time, if you hit 15%, you would go into closing for rest of the day. There would be no trading. At this point in time, 20% won't be required. So if it's before 1 p.m., there's a 2-hour trading halt, and if it happens after 2 p.m., then there's no more trading. The trading is halted for the rest of the day. And of course, if there's 20% circuit, in any case, I mean, if we open up, there's a circuit, then we open, there's a 15% circuit, and then there's a 20% circuit, then market is closed for the rest of the day.
Thanks, Anuj. Today is the kind of day that you would like to see some trading, because it will be fabulous trading, but it's a nice problem to have, to be sitting and watching the screen with nothing moving because we're frozen in an up circuit. That would be a nice problem to have. But let's take a break and come back with more perspective on whether we will get there, how much more from here, and which are the horses to back now after this fabulous electoral result. Back with Ramesh Damani and Akash Prakash in a minute.